Evangelism is a really interesting concept. It's something that I just accepted year after year after year as something that was super normal to do. And now I look at it as not only the most awkward thing I've ever done in my life, but maybe the meanest. When you look at Oxford Dictionary, it says that evangelicalism is the spreading of the Christian gospel by public preaching or personal witness. And when you look at Wikipedia, it says that in Christianity, evangelicalism or witnessing is the act of preaching the gospel with the intent of sharing the message and teachings of Jesus Christ. It's sometimes associated with Christian missions. These seem like positive things when you're coming at it from a Christian perspective, a perspective that is all about making sure that people are making it to heaven, that they are gathering a kingdom under God and they are all going to heaven. Now, telling someone else about what you believe or having a conversation debating beliefs is obviously not a bad thing. I have nothing against that. The issue with evangelism is that it starts from a place of disrespect and disregard for the other person's beliefs. When you're a Christian, in many situations, any other religion is seen to have been run by Satan. So when you're a Christian, you see everything as black and white. Everything is either God or Satan. Everything is satanic or demonic, or it's good and amazing and godly and holy. So other religions can be seen as nothing else except for satanic, to try to lure people away from God. It's one of the devil's tools to lead people astray. So you start off having the conversation from a very one-sided direction in order to convert someone else. When there is so much disregard for that person's personal opinions and beliefs, how are you supposed to even have a conversation that is based in respect and care for each other? The only kind of evangelism that can be respectful when Christians are open to others and don't see them as evil right off the bat. If you see someone as evil, if you see them as coming from an evil place, if you're not willing to hear them out genuinely, then you're not having a respectful conversation with another person. But evangelism doesn't just hurt the people that are being evangelized to. It doesn't just lack respect for them completely. It also hurts the evangelizer, because the evangelizer is told to stop listening to their bodies and override any feelings of being uncomfortable. And they're told that they're being selfish if they don't evangelize. It's an important part of the faith. You need to override those fears or any uncomfortableness that you may have in order to go talk to that random stranger in the middle of McDonald's. That's so weird, and it's completely normal to feel awkward about that interaction, but the fact that you're told to override that feeling really leads a lot of people that have been learning to override that feeling time and time again to not be able to listen to their body. And you're told that, oh, the heart is evil and wicked above all things, so you shouldn't listen to yourself. You should listen to God. Don't listen to yourself. That very actively does harm to the evangelizer. The part of evangelism that makes me the most frustrated is the luring of children. It being so focused on VBS or youth outreaches and focusing on the fact that 94% of adult Christians made their decision under the age of 18.
How important is vacation Bible? More than half the people who will ever believe in Christ will do so by age 12. By age 13, a person has formed a basic belief of the nature of God, the reliability of the Bible, the existence of an afterlife, and the everlasting love of Jesus Christ. Through Vacation Bible School, we have a chance to engage the hearts of these children when they are most open to the gospel.
And I can't speak for every church, but I know that in the church that I grew up in and many other churches, they focus so much on children and they talk about how it's so important because they have hearts like Christ. No, their frontal lobe just hasn't developed. What are you talking about? Kids are not smarter than adults. Kids are still growing and learning and trying to understand the world. If you're better at getting kids to agree with you than adults, that's a bad fucking sign, dude. Most of the time you're wrong. I mean, obviously kids can say some chill stuff, but like the idea that you have to get them while they're young or else you won't be able to change their mind really presents that, oh, once their brain has been fully developed, you can't convince them anymore. And I think that that is so problematic if the people you are going after to evangelize are specifically because they are easier to fool. Even if you don't see it as fooling, they are easier to convince. Now, this is also true for parents, Christian parents, with their own kids even more. So you're taught to evangelize and reach out to other people, reach out to kids through VBS and youth conference and stuff. But the people that are evangelized to the most are the Christian kids that grow up in these Christian households and have heard the same message their whole fucking life. You're taught to evangelize your children. Make sure that you are leading them to Christ. Make sure that you're maturing in the ways of the Lord. Because the idea that your kid could grow up to be anything else besides a Christian or have any other point of view on that is the worst thing that they could experience. It really is that constant indoctrination in order to keep you in the flock, because you didn't choose it. You didn't choose this religion. Your parents did. So they have to indoctrinate you from a very, very young age, get you to pray your life away to Jesus at 7 at a Pilgrim's Progress VBS in order to get you in while you're young. And then when you get to be older, the cost sunk fallacy has come in and you're like, oh, I've lived this much of my life already believing in God. I can't believe that much is a lie. And it just fucks people up. It's so sad that the majority of your parenting is focused on their belief in a deity and not necessarily themselves and their morals and empathy and care. They have to be gotten while they're kids, because if they're an adult and they're not a Christian, who knows if you can convince them. Indoctrination is the process of teaching or re-educating someone into unquestionably accepting certain beliefs or values, to accept things without having any question of those beliefs. Some examples, oh look, religious indoctrination is right there. When family, society, or groups denies people's rights of their own practices or beliefs. By trying to get kids while they're young, you're trying to take away that person's choice. If you get them young, before their brain is developed, then maybe they won't leave, especially when there are already a ton of fear-mongering that has happened at such a young age that not only is it religious indoctrination, but it becomes religious trauma. So what is religious trauma? Religious trauma occurs when a person's religious experience is stressful, degrading, dangerous, abusive, or damaging. Traumatic religious experiences may harm or threaten to harm someone's physical, emotional, mental, sexual, or spiritual health and safety. Form of examples, we have authoritarian teaching, spiritual abuse, fear of divine punishment, suppression of critical thinking, ostracization for nonconformity, shaming practices, traumatizing rituals, judgment exclusion, crisis of faith, and isolation and alienation. Now, by targeting these children with the religious indoctrination that a lot of time will also include religious trauma is so harmful to children and has caused many of them to experience different mental health issues later on in life because of this religious trauma that they've experienced. When you're indoctrinated and manipulated day in and day out to feel bad about yourself, that's going to make a big difference on your psyche over a long period of time. And when that's done as a kid and that's the only thing you've known, then what else are you supposed to believe? Especially when your parents, the people that are supposed to love and protect you, are the ones who are enforcing this and reinforcing it for you. Especially in a place that you're supposed to feel safe, like church. You hope that your religion builds a beautiful community and you're able to experience life in some way together. But for a lot of people, it's not that. It's important that children grow up and receive a balanced religious education where they can feel secure and loved in their home no matter what they end up believing about their religion. It's really important to foster a child's own spiritual journey rather than imposing your own desires for their spiritual journey onto them. Remembering that the child is a full person apart from you, and hopefully you did not have this child in order to relive some part of yourself or relive some part of your childhood, and we're focusing on that child's life. Now, a very big opposing book to this ideology is How to Train a Child by Michael Pearl. He's well known in the Fundy community for very harsh punishments to actively engage in religious trauma. Children need to have autonomy over their own bodies. And that's also a big issue with purity culture. It causes a lot of women to lose the feeling of autonomy over their bodies as they're making sure their bodies are covered up or perfect for everybody else, instead of letting them experience their own bodies and come to a conclusion about how they want to express themselves for themselves. There is a line between religious freedom and religious abuse. It's important to be aware of the signs of religious manipulation and advocate for children's rights overall, and advocate for children's ability to choose their their own beliefs. You think there is any chance that you are in a cult or in a cult-like environment, for you to go and look at the BITE model and to see if you are having undue influence pushed on you. I think that it's a good way to look at it, come to a conclusion for yourself. The first red flag is high control and demand, whether that's financial control, resources, possessions, or demanding attention. Red flag number 2 is outsiders' questions are met with hostility. Red flag number 3, fear-mongering. Red flag number 4, isolations. Now, it's really important, if you think you are in a place where you are in a cult or cult-like environment, that you reach out for help, whether that's through your support system, through a hotline. I will list those down below, as well as some research on what is spiritual abuse and those cult red flags, ways that we can healthfully talk to our kids about, and expressing that their worth or their eternal damnation is not based on whether they believe in a deity or not. And that's one of my big issues with a lot of Christianity, is just the concept of heaven and hell really does ruin the whole ethical thing for me. So that's why I struggle with Christianity overall. But I do recognize there are plenty of progressive Christians, or they might label themselves as something else, that are faithful practicers and do a great job of supporting other people and promoting religious liberty for all, protecting children. So it's really based on the individual person and not all of Christianity. It is just a general tenet that I have seen repeated over and over and over again. We want our kids to be happy and everyone to be happy about the religion that they're in. Your kids did not pick your religion, so let your kids pick what makes them happy and love them no matter what. Please comment your experiences with evangelism as a kid. Did you go to any VBSs or some fun Christian conferences? I might have seen some people at those. Been to way too many. Have you seen this trend of evangelizing to children in your own Christian circles? Subscribe if you want to hear more, and like if you like the video. Thanks so much. That's it for today. Remember to keep laughing through the apocalypse. Mwahaha!